Hello, and welcome to the first episode of the Listen to the Drummer podcast. If anyone read the description or the new post on our socials for this channel, you'll know that it used to be a blog and now it's going to be a podcast. Don't want to dwell on it too much. That's just what it's going to be now, and it's cool because it means that we can be more vocal instead of having to write it down, and that's a good thing. So, we're going to review everything from films, music, to TV, to books, whatever. That's what this gives me the opportunity to do, is to just nerd out to more people, and that's just pretty sick. So, yeah. So the first episode, we're going to talk about Clone Wars, because I just finished it, and it's sick, and more Star Wars fans should be watching it, because not enough are. And it's really annoying. Before we go any further, I just want to say this is all just my opinion. So yeah, it is just my opinion. Don't hate me. But share yours. If you liked Clone Wars, let me know in the comments, and we'll discuss Star Wars, because there's nothing more than Star Wars fans love than just talking about it. Right, anyway. On to my thoughts on Clone Wars. Now, just before I start, I want to say that this is a full show review. Like, we're going to talk about the whole show, the good, the bad, not just the last season that just aired. If I talk about a TV show that finishes or revisit one, I will do another full show review. Or, for example, when the new Rick and Morty season finishes, I'll just talk about that season because the show's still going. But because Clone Wars is over, this is going to be a full show review, start to finish. Bam, away we go. Right. Overall, Clone Wars is just a pretty good spin-off show. If no one's seen it, if you haven't watched it, there's going to be some spoilers in this video. But, yeah, this is just my thoughts. It's an anthology series, so it's pretty easygoing to watch. None of the episodes are in chronological order. And it's just really good. It's just really good spin-off stuff. Like, you know when you first watched Rogue One and you were like... loads of people were coming out of the cinema like, oh, I really wish there was more, like... side stuff on Star Wars. Well, Clone Wars has been around since like 2008. Go watch. It's good. The premise of this is it's just what happens between episodes 2 and 3, aka the Clone Wars. So yeah, pretty simple, does what it says on the tin. I want to talk about the good and the bad of the show, and then what I think about it overall. So, in terms of what I think is good about it, first and foremost, it's just the prequel trilogy, but better in so many ways. Like, you don't have the absolutely horrendous romance story. Even the scenes with Anakin and Padme in Clone Wars are so much better. Like, they seem to actually be a couple rather than just like a teenage couple that would go behind the bins to have their first kiss and be like, ooh, no, and there's no terrible CGI'd pairs. And, you know, I'm going to do a podcast on Attack of the Clones one day, because I really just want to talk about that movie for an hour and talk about how bad it is. I could go on for about 24 hours about that, but I'll try not to. I'll try not to dwell on the prequels too much in this, because Clone Wars is its own thing, and it deserves that. It deserves its praise. But yeah, first and foremost, it's just the prequels, but better. It's one of the best ways to sum it up, really. Like, it's good to see like all of the characters that you like in the prequels. Like, it feels like you want to root for them now, which brings me to my next point of Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship. Like, it's actually good in this show. Like, when at the start of A New Hope, Obi-Wan's like, and he was a good friend. Like, you actually see that in this show. You see that they're best mates, and it's just so good. Like, they have chemistry, they have humor, they bounce off each other. It's just, yeah, I wish the films had Anakin like this, which is another reason why I think the show is good. Anakin is like what if not the best thing about the show is Anakin. Like, he's really good. It's just like him. Like, it's how he should be. He's a good guy who you can tell doesn't agree with a lot of the stuff the Jedi Order wants him to do. Like, he's a really good guy and he saves people, but he'll have no problem with killing someone to save someone else. Obviously, that's against the Jedi way, but like, Anakin's a good guy. It's not like he's evil just to be evil. Like, he's doing bad things, but because he thinks he's doing it right, which makes when he turns in episode 3, like, it makes more sense because it's like he's doing it to save people he loves because he thinks it's a good thing. So that's pretty cool. If anything, this show makes the prequels better, which is kind of cool because like there are a lot of stuff about the prequels films I actually enjoy, even though I wouldn't say that none of them are good films. They have a lot of nostalgia for me because obviously they were the ones that came out when I was a kid. So if anything, this show, it kind of it ties in really well with the original trilogy. It kind of strengthens it up a bit. It kind of like forms the gluten in the bread that is the prequel trilogy. It just makes it a bit stronger, especially Revenge of the Sith, because obviously it leads into that. Which is another really good thing about the show is the new characters that it adds. Obviously, you have all your good old boys like your Anakins, your Obi-Wans, your Yodas, your Mace Windows, your R2s, your C-3POs. But you've got your new characters, Ahsoka, who's Anakin's Padawan, who he gets throughout all of the show, and she could have easily just been like a kind of like a really annoying character who you wouldn't have mind leaving, obviously, but she's not in any of the films. But she's really good. Like, she has a good story. Her arc that she inevitably gets in this show is really cool. It doesn't really happen until the end. Like, she's just Anakin's Padawan, but there's a lot of him in her, and like good Anakin as well, not like terrible whiny I hate sand Anakin. But yeah, it slaps because it's just, she's really cool, and some of her stories, because obviously not all of the stories are about the same characters. Like, you'll have like a 2-part that's about Obi-Wan, or 3-part that's about Ahsoka and Anakin, or you'll have like a 3-part which is about Jar Jar. But well, never mind. But like, they're really good. The other main character that is added to the show is Captain Rex, one of the Commander Rex, Captain Rex, I can't remember now, one of the clone commanders. And obviously you have Cody in the movies, but Rex is like another, like one of Cody's like brothers in inverted commas, obviously, haha, because they're all cloned, lol. But yeah, like, he's a really good character. Like, like straight from the bat. Like, as soon as he comes on screen, he's so cool. He's fun. Like, he's funny. He's got a good relationship with Anakin and Ahsoka because they're the 2 Jedi who are assigned to the 501st Legion that they take charge of. And it's just, yeah, it's solid. He's a really solid character, and I would happily watch more stuff with Rex in, and especially in the last season. Wow, like, that's one thing about this show is up to about season 5. It keeps getting better and better. Like, 2 is better than 1, 3 is better than 2, so forth and so forth. Season 5 is incredible, and season 6 is good, but like season 5, it's not as good as season 5. And then the newest season came along, season 7, which all season 7 is it's just because Disney cancelled it originally a few years ago, and season 7 is just the end that it was going to have a few years ago. So it's only 12 episodes, but it's just 3 4-parters, and the last of the 4-parters is incredible. I think it got something stupid, like, I think all of the 4 episodes got like 9.9s on IMDb or something. So I went into this thinking like, oh, these better be good, and they were good. They were so good. Like, some of the best Star Wars media I've ever seen. Like, it feels half the time like a really, really, really good fan fiction, and I mean that in the best way. I mean, it feels like it's been made by hardcore Star Wars fans, and that's such a refreshing thing, especially after watching some of the stuff that Disney's done with it. Not that it's all been terrible, but to know that the people who have made this have made it with such like care, and you know that they're really into Star Wars is just like the guy who's done it, Dave Filoni. It's like his show. He was really involved in The Mandalorian, and that's why loads of people have been hyping about that as well. So hopefully he gets to do more stuff in the future, because he really likes Star Wars, and he really likes making Star Wars media. So what more do you want from a guy? Oh yeah, what was the other thing I was going to say about this show? Darth Maul is in this show, like, and he's not even like the same character. Like he's like even better than he was in Phantom Menace. He's so good in this. Like he's basically gone insane when you found him, because he's like half like he was killed basically by Obi-Wan, but he somehow survived, and he's just there in like this basically this planet which is a freaking junk pile with his spider legs, and it's pretty funny to watch actually. He's got little spider legs, but like him and Obi-Wan's arc, I don't want to spoil it too much, but every episode with Maul in the arc with like the 6 or 7 episodes that involve him and Obi-Wan are just absolutely ridiculous. They are so good. Like I part of me wishes it was a movie, but I don't want to take anything away from how good these episodes are, so I'm not even going to say that. I'm just watch them. Just watch them. And the other really good thing I want to say about the show before we move on to the bad things is the end is really good. Like, we've had a fair few, how do we put this? Disappointing endings. I'm looking at you, D&D. I'm looking at you. She's my queen. But yeah, the end is so good. Like, stupidly good. I don't want to spoil it. I mean, you know what happens if you've seen Revenge of the Sith. That's how this show ends. But it's an anthology series, and it still concludes. Like, all the events come together, and it's just. I would seriously recommend watching it. If you're a massive Star Wars fan, then this show is for you. Like, if you really like exploring the lore and all the extended universe stuff, and kind of get annoyed that Disney scrapped loads of stuff when they first took over and said it wasn't canon anymore. This show is all canon. So, and it's really good canon. It's really good. None of it's well, I say none of it's cheesy. Some of it is. It's not all perfect, but when it gets it right, it gets it so right. But yeah, on to the bad things about the show. And honestly, there's not a lot, but I do have some problems with it, as I do with nearly everything, as we'll come to learn more episodes into this podcast. But yeah, first bad thing I want to say about it is season 1 isn't particularly bad, but every season is substantially better than season 1. Like, it doesn't even look as good as the others. I mean, like the quality in season 7 was obscene. It was ridiculous. Like, for a kids animated show, like, it looks ridiculous, but yeah, season 1 doesn't look as good. The episodes are kind of generic. Like, they're still, like, there's some really good ones in season 1, like the one with the cannon that the Separatists attached to their ship, which can take out, like, entire Republic cruisers. That's a really cool 3-parter. There's a couple of good ones here and there, but yeah, there's none that are amazing. Like, as soon as you get to season 2, like, you'll get halfway through and you'll be like, right, okay, this show is the shit. Like, you'll know when it gets good if you properly dedicate yourself to it. But that's another thing. You don't have to properly watch it from the start. Because it's an anthology show, you can just look up which 3-parters are together and then just watch them. Like, I wouldn't jump in at the end, though. Like, I would watch quite a bit before you watch the last 4-parter, because get the tissues out. Yeah. Which brings me to my next point. That not all episodes are super necessary. Like, you'll have a 2-parter of, like, really cool action adventures with Anakin and Ahsoka and Obi-Wan. It'll be really cool. You'll be having a sick time, and then that will wrap itself up, and you'll be like, oh, right, I can't wait to see what's next. And it'll be like a 2-part that's dedicated to Jar Jar Binks. Why? There's some episodes that you can tell that they've had to just slot in because they need like 20 or 22 episodes in the season, and they have to make some episodes, like some episodes are dark, so they have to put some episodes in to be like, okay, this show is for kids. Like there's a 4-parter in like the middle of season 5 or something, which is all about like R2 and 3 other droids, like with this commander who's like the size of a like deodorant can, and like they go off and try and find this thing on a separatist ship. Like that episode's kind of cool, but there's episodes like that are quite cheesy and nowhere near as good. Like the Padme episodes as well aren't great, even though Padme is a much better character in this. She's not like just Anakin, you're breaking my heart. Yeah, like she's a lot better. Yeah. The only other thing I would say about this show is, going back to my last point, is the 4-parter in the middle of the last season kind of summarizes the last problem I just brought up. It doesn't need to be there. Like that 4-parter is essentially all about like what Ahsoka does after the end of season 5, where I'm not going to say what happens, but yeah, that could have been two episodes. It didn't need to be that long. But overall, I'd say like this show is ridiculous. It's really good, and if you haven't seen it, you really, really, really should watch at least some episodes. Like, especially if you're if you're not a huge Star Wars fan, this might not be for you. But I freaking love Star Wars, so when my brother watched this, he was like, you have to watch it, and I was like, right, I'm sold. So yeah, I've got to watch Rebels next, but I've not watched any of that, so don't be expecting an episode on that for a while. Yeah, overall, I'd say the show is solidly just really good. When it's good, it's good. Obviously, yeah, it has its problems. It's not like the best show of all time. It's not the best animated show of all time, because that is Avatar: The Last Airbender. When I finish my rewatch, I'm going to do a podcast on that, because I love that show and I can't wait to talk about it in full. I'll do a full show review, and I can't wait to give that my stamp of approval. But this show is one of the best animated shows I've seen, one of the best kids shows I've seen, if you can class it as a kids show at times. Like, it feels like just a collection of Star Wars side stories. Like, it doesn't feel like it's made for kids. It just feels like it's good. Like, a good kid show should never have to be labeled as a kid show, if that makes sense. Like a good kids show should just be a show that's really good, that's suitable for kids, and that a good kids show is something that an adult can watch with them and be like, okay, this is really good, and you want to watch it together. That's what makes like really good family things so good. Like this, like films like Toy Story and loads of other Pixar stuff. Like it's a really good thing to watch as together, and that's what makes really good stuff that's suitable for families. That's what makes it just really good, because you can share that experience together. Oh, that's an adorable way to end. But yeah, overall, I'd probably give this show out of 10. Oh yeah, we're going to give everything that we review score out of 10. That's just the way we do things. That's the way we're going to be doing things on this show. And if you read my blog, you know that. But never mind, it's fine. So yeah, I'd give this show probably an 8 out of 10. Probably an 8.5. No, an 8 out of 10, because there's a lot of episodes that didn't need to be there. But yeah, when it's good, it slaps. Solid 8. Really, really enjoyable. And the end deserves all of the credit that all of the credit that the end is getting online deserves it. Well, it's one of the best ends to a show I've ever seen, regardless of kids or animated. It ends just too well to not be recognised. Like I was saying before, especially when we've had like a couple of years of disappointing seasons, like season finales and normal finales. It was really refreshing to go into the end of a show that I really liked and just enjoy the end as well as the journey that I've had before, not having to compensate myself by saying that the journey was really good to get to this point. But yeah, 8 out of 10. Star Wars Clone Wars, well worth the watch. And that's where we're going to end it today. So, yeah. Listen to the drummer. Going to be posting episodes every week. Next week we are gonna be reviewing the 1975's new album. I'm excited for that. We shall see what happens, because that is going to be 22 songs long. And I've liked half of the singles they've dropped, so it'll be an interesting review for sure. And I might even get someone else to do it with me, so it won't just be me. But we'll see. We will see. But yeah, listen to The Drummer, comment, subscribe, like the page, like the socials. And yeah, see you next week. In a bit.